It's called Science and Faith. It's in stores actually right now. The Script, Danny, Mark, and Glenn. Guys, thank you so much for making the time.
No problem at all. Our pleasure.
I was actually thinking of you guys the other day. I was at a restaurant, and I was going over. I was really hungry, so I wanted to get an appetizer. I look at the appetizer menu, and you got your spinach and artichoke dip. You have your chicken wings, and then a pint of Guinness listed under the appetizers.
Wow. It's a bit of a meal in itself,
Well, that's what I figured. Now, is that something that's common?
I would have put it under the soup of the day section.
Yeah, probably.
with a spoon. It is actually quite common. It gives you a serious appetite, believe it or not. It really does.
It gives you an appetite.
Yeah.
See, I've always known it for me, like if I was hungry, I mean, not that it was a meal replacement per se, but it could kind of tide me over.
Yeah, it can definitely tie you over. I mean, I was definitely a Guinness drinker for probably 6 years. And every time first originally it would fill you up, but then after a while, now after 6 pints of Guinness, you could go down to the local chipper and you are hungry. So yeah, it is. It does start off being a drink and then it turns into an appetizer.
Let's keep the topic actually at food for a second. For the first time, the first single from the album, and congrats by the way on all the success with the album overseas. I know it's been out there for a minute now and it's done very well. I was watching the music video, and at the beginning of the video, there's a lovely young lady who we'll get to in just a second. She's writing a postcard back home, and she talks about how she would love a piece of proper brown bread. Yeah. Now, I'm a big bread guy. Is that wheat bread? Is that what we would?
It's basically like wheat bread, but there's the particular one in Ireland that I don't know if they make it anywhere else, but it's like soda brown bread. It's like your equivalent of soda bread, but this is a brown bread version of it. And it's to die for. It's amazing.
It's so good. When I go to my friend over in Boston, I'd bring it over, and I'd be praying they don't take it off. And when you go through, the way they walk around with the dogs, and it's like you have to declare.
Don't take my
bread. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like hoping, and luckily I've got it in every time. It's been great. Yeah.
So Glen smuggles bread into the States. Very nice.
Any law enforcement officer is just going to go straight for his bag.
I'll sit like this for the rest of the interview now.
Talking with the Script here on the Ralphie Radio Show. All right, so back to that young lady that was writing the postcard. It's Bono's daughter.
Yeah, we were challenged a little bit by our director to he had seen her reel as an actress. So we thought it was really interesting that what we wanted to tell the story was that two Irish people come to New York and they're caught in a recession here, and there's no point in being here, but there's no point in going home because it's just as bad at home in Ireland. So we felt, we really needed some Irish people to play that part because it needs to be authentic, and she happened to be Eve Hewson, which is Bono's daughter, happened to be she happened to be doing a movie in Ireland with Sean Penn and stuff, so we thought we'd approach her and ask her would she join us for the video, and she did. She was the starring role, and she's amazing. She's an amazing actress.
It's got to put things in perspective for you guys. I remember, Mark, you called into my show May of 2009, and I think that summer you guys were going to be going on tour with U2. They had tabbed you guys to support them, and you guys grew up listening to U2. And now, I mean, I don't know if you're necessarily like boys with them, but they know who you are.
They know who we are,
yeah, that's a frightening thought. To think that people that have been on your homepage of your iTunes, or people that you've got in your own library actually know you. That
album is on iTunes now, their new one, Science and Faith. What I inferred from the title track, correct me if I'm wrong, is really it's about you can't use science to explain faith. And maybe you're talking about vice versa as well.
And vice versa, and vice versa. I think it was really important for us because where I think most people will think, because we're Irish, they'll think that we're writing about religion, when we say faith, and we're not. We're talking about, I suppose, the politics of the heart, where male, girl, male-female, it doesn't matter. A relationship always comes with its miscommunications, There's always one really logical person, there's always one really illogical person, or I suppose faithful person, where they have, in my case, was myself thinking I'm really logical. I was having an argument with my wife, and picking her apart, why she loves me, telling her it's all a chemical reaction in her mind at the end of the day, not realising that I'm actually pulling away everything she feels from me. And she just said, well, what about hope? What about faith? I've got faith in you. You don't find that in a science book, And that's why I think spawned off the idea for Science and Faith, the song, because we wanted to say something really honest about two people in a relationship always has that miscommunication. It's about meeting at that border.
You guys experience a lot of heartbreak?
A lot, obviously. Have you heard our songs?
Well, you wonder sometimes how much of it is true and how much of it isn't.
Yeah, a lot.
Based off of a true story.
I think it depends on the caliber of song. If you find a song that you really believe in, lyrically that you believe in, and you listen to it, you go, wow, they were really through some stuff. I've definitely heard other people who haven't lived through heartache and wrote a song about it, and it's just not believable. Yeah. It really has to be a 100% honesty in your lyrics in order to get that kind of believability across. And I think honesty is probably the best way you can try and write a hit song. People are like, what's the secret? Nothing, just being honest.